Hi everyone, welcome to Ansha Academy. In this tutorial, we will learn how to use API versioning in ASP.NET Core. Now, why do we need API versioning? So just imagine you have an API application, and then your client is using that, and at some point you want to add more features to the API. However, you want to still support the existing clients and give them an option to upgrade. In that sense, you can actually create different versions of your API and then give an opportunity for your client to decide whether they want to use the existing API version or upgrade to the new version. That way, you can make sure that your client application doesn't break until they are ready to upgrade. So in this tutorial, we will talk about different types of API versioning that we can do it. So one of the way to do that is query string based versioning. The second type is URL based versioning, and the third type is HTTP header based versioning. So we will go through all the three types and see how to do that. So here is the application that we have been working from our previous tutorials. So in this application, we will see how to add versioning. So before we do that, I'll just run the API and then show how it is being configured. So here is our Postman endpoint that we had created to call into the APIs. You can see that the API is working fine now. Now we will see how to add versioning to this. To do that, you can see that we have uh, our structure is defined like this. So we will add more versioning to these screens. So in order to do that, I'll create three new folders here, each for one version. I'm going to call it 1.0. I'm going to add one more folder, and then 3.0 folder we will add. Once I do that, I will copy the controllers from here, and then I will just move it into this, all the three folders. So these are our three different versions, right? 1, 2, and 3. You can see here. And what we will do, we will remove this for now to keep it simple. We'll just remove the existing one. So these are our endpoints. Now, in order to work on this, first thing is we need to change the namespace. So I'm going to rename this to .v1, to rename this to .v2. Similarly, let's rename this to .v3. Now, with that change is done, we'll go to the program files. So we are going to do some changes here to get this working. And then if you see our packages that we are using, right, we are using two packages here. One is mvc.versioning, and then mvc Explorer. The second one is for Swagger. So let's go ahead and add these two packages. And this one. Okay, so with that done, we'll go back to our program file. So here we will do a few changes. So first thing is we will add API versioning, right, to the project. I'm going to say builder dot services dot add API versioning, and then it's going to take some options. I'm going to say options dot default API version is equal to new Microsoft dot ASP.NET Core dot MVC dot API versioning, and then it's going to take two parameters, so the major version and the minor version. Okay, so this is done. Next is I want to add options dot assume default unspecified is equal to false, and then options dot report API versions is equal to true. This will return the API version to the calling application, and then options dot API version reader is equal to new header API version reader. In this namespace, and then I'm going to add the header, right, what we need to do. So what I add this, so for now I'll just comment out this one, because we will see that at the end how to use that. So this is how we have to configure it. So we'll come back to this in a while. So now what we will do, we need to add some more options for our um, explorer. So we will add builder dot services dot add version explorer, take some options, and so I will leave this link for the Git repo in the description, so you don't have to worry. You can take a look at that group name format. This is how the format will the formatting of our API will be. So that's going to be uh, minor and major versions, right? This will be the format, and options dot substitute API version URL is equal to true. So with that done, we'll come down. So where we have this use Swagger UI, here we're going to take some options, and then I'm going to first create one variable. Name it like this, app.services dot get required service, and then I'm going to add interface here, and it will be coming from here. Now what we will do, we will use this to describe our different APIs. So where description in API description provider, the variable that we created. Yeah. So the API that we created, the variable dot API version descriptions. So I'm going to say options dot swagger endpoint, and then I'm going to put the swagger URL here, which is one, and then I'm going to call this API as Adventure Works API. This is how the swagger description will look like. Okay, so with that done, now we will go to our individual controllers here, and then we are going to add something called versioning here. So API version, right? So and then it is going to be 1.0. Copy this one. So basically, this is my 1.0 version. This is going to be my 2.0, and this is going to be my 3.0. Now for the version 2.0, we will change the path to take the version, because if you see, right, our presentation, we need to do URL based versioning, right? So 2.0, we will take the API version through the URL. So I'm going to add this for my 2.0 version. So with these changes done, we will go back to version controller here, the 1.0, and then we will see if our Postman still works. So you can see that I think I need to run the application first. So let's run this. So with that running, if I try to execute this, yeah, so we are getting an error telling that API version unspecified. So if you look at our options, right, so we need to do first option that we configured is to use query string based versioning. So in the query string, we need to let the endpoint know which version we want to trigger. So for that, I will take this get products. I'll put a breakpoint here for each version so that you can easily recognize that to see which version we are hitting. Okay, so with this done, so let's go back. Now in the API, I'm going to say in the query string, I'm going to put API version is equal to 1.0. Right, with that done, you can see, right, it triggered our 1.0 controller, or the v1, right? So it triggered v1 the moment we gave version has 1.1. So this should execute now. Now here, if I change it to 2.0, it should still take 2.0, but we changed it to use URL based. So I will describe that how to do that in a minute. So I'm going to rename this one to v1. So it came here to our 1.0 still, you can see. So it's still working. Good. Now what we will do, we will add a new version. So as I said, right, your client may be interested in upgrading. So I'll just duplicate this. I'll call it v2. So now in this, we will use URL based versioning. So I'm going to remove this. And if you go back to our 2.0, you can see, right, we added a version description here, right, API version. So we need to specify the version in the URL. So it will be like 2.0 slash orders. And you can see it hit the breakpoint, and you can see, right, we are hitting the v2 version of our get products. However, unlike the v1, we are not using the query string to specify the version. We are using our within the URL we are using the version. Now let's look at the last part. So for the last part to work, we have to enable this. So if we go back to here, so I'm going to say it requires an header. So option.api version reader, I'm going to specify, okay, header API version reader x API version. So this we will check for the next one. So I'm going to run this. Now what I will do, we will create a duplicate of this. I'm going to call this v3. Now for this, what we will do, we will not use this. Instead, I'm going to add a header key here and then call it 3.0, and then I'm going to run this. So now you can see the same URL hit the v3 version of our API, and then it returns the same data. Okay. So you can see in the version 1 we used the query string to specify the version. In our v2 we used the version within the URL. This is URL based, and in version 3 we used a header. So this is header based. So we covered all the three types of API versioning that we can do. So as usual, I will put the source code in the Git. The link for the source code, I'll put it in the description. So feel free to download and check it out. If you like, please subscribe and then support us. Thank you.